Okay, let's just dive right into it. Is this whole AI thing a real money printing machine? Or is it all just a massive hype train? We decided to find out by running an experiment. Start an AI-powered side hustle with a budget of, get this, $0, and just see what happens in 1 week. We're going to go beyond the hype to see what actually hits your bank account.
I mean, you've seen the headlines, right? They are everywhere. YouTube, TikTok, you name it. The secret to making $250 a day with AI. Launch a profitable business in a single weekend. It's this super intoxicating promise of easy money that with just a few clever prompts, you can build a whole new income stream right from your laptop.
So that's the big question for this whole explainer. What actually happens when you strip away all the hype, all the paid courses, and just try to build something real from scratch? No existing audience, no money, just a 7-day timeline and whatever free AI tools you can find. Let's see what the reality looks like.
All right, first things first. Let's set the scene. We're not trying this in a vacuum, right? We are smack in the middle of a full-blown AI gold rush, where it seems like literally everyone is striking it rich.
And the story they're all selling, the one pushed by countless online guides and crash courses, it's all about incredible speed and simplicity. They promise you can go from zero to your first sale in just 1 week, with focused daily lessons and no filler. I mean, it sounds a little too good to be true, doesn't it?
So for days 1 and 2 of our experiment, the first major task was just figuring out what to do. When it feels like everything is possible, just picking a direction is maybe the hardest part.
And when you look at the options, man, there are a ton of different paths you can take. You've got hourly work like content creation, monthly retainers for social media, and then the long-term plays like YouTube. But, and this is important, notice the one thing they all have in common. Every single AI hustle is really just a supercharged version of a skill that already existed, like writing, marketing, or storytelling.
After looking at all that, the choice for our experiment was pretty clear: AI-assisted content creation. Now, why that one? Well, the barrier to entry is just incredibly low. You just need a free AI writer, and the potential to get paid is way more immediate than something like, say, a YouTube channel, which can take months to monetize.
Okay, so the hustle was chosen. Now it was time to actually do the work. And this brings us to days 3 through 6, which is really where the clean, simple plan just crashes head-on into messy reality. This is where the hype meets the grind.
So, according to all those online guides, the plan for these days is super straightforward. For days 3 and 4, you just whip up an instant portfolio with AI, set up a little shop on Upwork or Fiverr. Easy. Then, for days 5 and 6, you just write some winning proposals to clients. I mean, it looks so simple on paper, right?
But here's that first dose of reality. This is a direct quote from someone who followed that exact playbook. They used AI to craft the perfect gig descriptions, set super low prices, and after weeks of just waiting, crickets. Nothing. And this right here perfectly illustrates the big hidden challenge. So here's the thing. This is the crucial point. AI has made the creation part ridiculously easy. You can generate blog posts, articles, you name it, in seconds. But it does absolutely nothing, zero, to solve the much, much harder problem of finding somebody who's actually willing to pay you for it.
Yeah, this quote from an experienced user just nails it. The bottleneck isn't making the stuff anymore, it's the sales, the marketing, the distribution. It's convincing a real human being to care enough to open their wallet. That's the part of the grind that all those hype videos just conveniently forget to mention.
Which, of course, brings us to the end of our experiment, day 7. After a whole week of choosing a hustle, building a portfolio, and trying to land clients, what was the actual bottom line result?
Well, the results were kind of complicated. On one hand, trying to sell generic stuff like blog posts on Fiverr, that earned exactly $0, a big fat nothing. But on the other hand, a totally separate experiment that focused on one super specific task, creating an AI-generated ad for a brand, that actually did land a paying gig for about $24. It's a small win for sure, but it's a really important clue.
But here's the catch. Even when some money did come in, what was the real cost in time? One user tracked their hours for weeks and found it took over 30 hours of pure grinding just to make maybe $100. I mean, do the math. That's barely minimum wage, if that. The return on your time is just brutal.
And for the most dedicated experiment we found, someone who tried for 6 full weeks to build a content service from scratch. After all that time, all that effort, the final income was a stark, unavoidable $0.
So, if the most common advice just leads to a dead end, what's the alternative? Where is the real money actually being made with AI? The answer, it turns out, is pretty fascinating.
Okay, this is probably the most important concept to get your head around. AI is leverage, it's not demand. Think about it. AI makes producing things super cheap and super fast, but it doesn't create demand out of thin air. It doesn't convince anyone to actually care or pull out their wallet.
And this slide just shows the two paths perfectly. On one side, you've got the hype-driven ideas, generic AI writing, low-effort AI art, stuff anyone can generate with a click. So the market is flooded and the value is basically zero. But on the other side, you've got problem-solving ideas. This is where AI is used to deliver a specific solution to a specific client, like automating a workflow or creating content for a niche they actually understand.
And when you really look at who's actually making good money, a really clear pattern starts to emerge. They are not starting from absolute zero. They either already had an audience to sell to, or, and this is a big one, they're selling the shovels in the gold rush, the courses, the prompts, or they're just using AI to make a business they already have more efficient, or they're doing very targeted freelance work.
So here's the big takeaway. AI isn't some magic bullet that replaces skill. It's a powerful tool that enhances the skills you already have. It makes a good writer faster, a good marketer more efficient, and a good problem solver way more scalable. The most valuable skill hasn't changed at all. It's still finding and solving a real-world problem for someone.
And that really leaves us with a final thought. Instead of asking, how can I make money with AI, maybe the better question to ask is, what real problem can I solve for someone else using AI as my tool? Because as this whole experiment shows, that's where the real value and the real income is hiding.